When we fire up a deep dive, we're starting with a premise.
Right.
We have a stack of dense academic studies or maybe a breaking news report about, I don't know, the global economy.
We're usually in the business of unpacking concepts, trying to make something abstract a little more concrete.
But today is different. Today is February 3rd, 2026, and we are not diving into a concept.
No, we're diving into a person.
We're diving into a person.
Which, if you really think about it, is often where the best data comes from. We're sort of treating this as a blueprint analysis,
A blueprint, yeah.
looking at the life, the leadership, the whole psychological framework of one person to see what makes them tick.
And that person is Devon Croom. And it just so happens to be her birthday today, so happy birthday, Devon.
Happy birthday.
And while that's the reason we're doing this today, we're not just here to, cut the cake. We're here because when we started pulling the sources, the interview transcripts, her leadership philosophy, these personal traits, we realized we were looking at a really fascinating case study in resilience.
It was the synthesis of roles that really grabbed me.
Me too.
Usually when we profile someone, they kind of fit into one box. They're a business leader or maybe a spiritual figure or a survivor advocate.
Right, but Devon is somehow all of them at once.
Exactly. We've got sources here that describe a high-level IT leader managing a technical team, and then other sources talking about an ordained minister. And then you have this harrowing, deeply personal account of her journey as a survivor of domestic abuse.
From her book, Abused But Not Broken.
Right. She seems to have found a way to stack these identities instead of keeping them in separate silos.
And that, I think, is our mission for this deep dive. We want to uncover the Devon Croom blueprint. How do you go from what she calls survival mode?
I mean, literally fearing for your life.
To becoming what her own team calls a North Star.
It's that transition from silence to leadership.
Yeah.
And we've got some really specific documents to work through to figure it out.
Yeah, we have the full transcript from her appearance on the podcast, The Blueprint. Sis, you are HRR.
We've got her professional coaching methodology from her website.
And we have that very telling, very emotional tribute from a direct report in her IT department.
That tribute was the thing that really jumped out at me.
Oh, me too. You just don't often see IT professionals getting that emotional about their managers.
No, you don't. Tech is usually about, uptime, tickets, efficiency.
Right.
This is about identity.
Right.
It suggests she's doing something very, very different in that server room than most managers.
So let's unpack this. If we're building the Devon Croom blueprint, we have to start at the foundation. And I think we have to be honest, the foundation here is trauma. We have to talk about that origin story and her book.
Right. And Abused But Not Broken isn't just a memoir written, from the safety of hindsight.
No.
The sources say this book actually started as a journal. She was documenting this really dark period of domestic abuse while she was still living through it.
And this is where that blueprint idea really kicks in for me. Because a lot of people go through trauma, and it is completely valid to just survive it.
For sure.
You don't have to turn it into anything. But Devon, she didn't just survive. She systematized her escape.
This was the part of the interview transcript that just stopped me in my tracks. She talks about the paralysis of abuse.
The fight, flight, or freeze response.
Yeah, and she admits she was in freeze. She said she believed the lie that she couldn't make it on her own.
But even inside that freeze, her brain was working on logistics.
Exactly. She developed a code system with her girlfriend. And this is where you start to see that IT leader mind emerging. Even in the middle of a personal crisis, she created the 411 and the 911 protocols.
It's chilling, but it's also brilliant. Let's break those down.
Okay, so the 411 code was the logistical prep. If she texted or said 411 to her friend, it meant, meet me down the street.
But not, I'm leaving right now.
No, not at all. It was, I need to stash some clothes in your trunk, or I need to hand you some cash to hold for me.
Which is so critical because, as she points out in the source material, one of the main reasons women stay is that financial paralysis.
Right. They don't think they can feed themselves or their kids if they leave.
So she was circumventing that.
She was circumventing the financial control that keeps women trapped. She was building a cache. She was moving resources off-site, to use a tech term.
It just requires so much foresight. When you're in a high-stress environment, your brain usually just tunnels. You lose that strategic long-term view.
But she was playing the long game.
And then you have the 9/11.
The extraction protocol.
Yeah.
He's been hitting me too long. The older kids are watching. I need to go now. That's the emergency signal.
So what does that tell us about her psychology, even back then?
That she naturally seeks order in chaos.
Yeah.
She didn't just hope someone would save her. She engineered a communication protocol to save herself.
And she talks about the moment the switch flipped for her, the transition from being a victim to becoming the North Star.
That's such a powerful image. A North Star is a navigation tool. It's something other people use to find their way.
She said in the interview, "I am the example for them." She realized her pain wasn't just random suffering. It was data. It was credibility.
Right.
She calls herself a pastor to many women, specifically those who feel voiceless.
It's the classic archetype of the wounded healer, but with a really practical edge. She's not hiding the past. She's using it as her credential. She's saying, I know the way out because I built the map.
Okay, so that's the foundation. She survives, she rebuilds, she writes the book. But then we get into her philosophy on how to live after the trauma. And this is where it gets really fun, because she has some great metaphors.
You're thinking of salt and light.
I am absolutely thinking of salt and light.
It sounds like a Sunday school lesson, doesn't it?
It does, but she spins it into a personal branding masterclass.
She really does. She takes that biblical concept, salt is flavor, light is brightness, and turns it into this framework for authenticity. But it's the specific instruction she gives that I loved.
You mean it's salt and light, not salt and pepper?
Yes. It's such a funny line, but the insight is so deep.
I laughed out loud when I read that in the transcript. But
Right.
unpack that for us. What's she actually saying there?
Well, she's attacking the urge to conform, to pair up. Salt and pepper go together. They're a set. There's a standard. And she's saying, don't try to match someone else. Don't try to be the pepper to someone's salt just because that's what the room expects.
She says, if Yanique stands with a certain pose, I shouldn't want to mimic Yanique.
Right. It's about standing in your own singular identity. And this connects directly to her whole stance on competition, which honestly is a very hard stance to take in the corporate world.
For sure.
Devon has a strict rule. I am not in competition with you. I'm in competition with myself.
The queen in the mirror.
The queen in the mirror. Her metric for success isn't, did I beat the other manager? It's, am I better than I was yesterday?
That sounds great on a motivational poster, but does it really hold up in a cutthroat industry?
Well, that's the interesting tension, because most corporate structures are built on stack ranking. But Devon counters that with her favorite scripture, which appears multiple times in our sources. Iron sharpens iron.
Iron sharpens iron. I've heard that used to justify really aggressive debate, like, I'm just sharpening you while I'm tearing your idea apart.
It can definitely be used that way, but Devon seems to mean it as productive friction.
Okay.
You can't sharpen a knife if the two pieces of metal aren't touching. She wants women to be bridge builders. If I'm close enough to sharpen you, I'm close enough to help you.
I see. So if I'm just trying to beat you, I'm probably keeping my distance.
Exactly. She wants that close contact. It transforms the relationship from rivalry to mutual improvement.
And since she's an inspirational leadership coach, this isn't just a personal mantra, it's the curriculum she's actually teaching.
Precisely. She believes in lifting as she climbs.
So let's see how that curriculum survives contact with reality. Because this next part is where the rubber meets the road. We've looked at the survivor and the philosopher. Now let's look at the boss.
The IT leader.
This is the part that fascinates me. We have this tribute from a member of her team. She manages 10 people in IT.
And let's be honest about the stereotype of IT management. It's often very transactional.
Oh, yeah.
It's tickets closed, uptime maintained, SLAs met. It's usually pretty binary. It works or it doesn't.
But the tribute paints a totally different picture. Her direct report says, and I'm quoting here, she makes it her duty to learn each one of us and push us to our goals.
See, she's bringing the shepherd mindset into a technical environment.
That's classic servant leadership.
It is. A traditional boss asks, what can you do for the company today? A servant leader asks, what do I need to clear out of your way so you can be your best today?
The source also notes she pours into others. That's very specific language. It implies she's expending her own energy to fill them up.
And remember, she's an ordained minister. She's not leaving that hat at the door when she swipes her badge at the office.
She's not corporate Devon and church Devon. She's just Devon.
Right. She treats her team of 10 like a congregation, not in a religious sense, but in a care sense. She sees them as people first, assets second.
That integration extends to her home life, too. The tribute makes a specific point to mention her husband, Devon Croom.
Yes. Shout out to Daryl.
It says she's been by his side through thick and thin. It just reinforces this theme of loyalty.
It paints a picture of someone who is really grounded. She isn't just a public figure, she's a partner.
Okay, so we have this picture of a high-functioning, integrated leader. But I always want to know the mechanics. How does she actually pull this off? What is the operating system?
Well, the operating system apparently runs on very little sleep.
The 2.35 a.m. protocol.
This is a specific detail from the interview that I just loved. She says if she gets a download, a vision, a thought, a spiritual prompting, she wakes up.
No matter what time.
It doesn't matter if it's 2.000 a.m. or 3.00 a.m. She mentioned 2.35 a.m., specifically in the transcript. And she doesn't just lie there and think about it.
No, she turns the light on. Poor Daryl. That is true love right there.
A source literally says he just pulls the covers over his head. But she has to write it down. She keeps a journal by the bed. And this brings us to a key part of her toolkit, the journal as evidence.
I thought this was so smart. She doesn't just journal to vent feelings.
No, she journals to create a data trail.
A tangible document.
Exactly. She talks about looking back at, say, January 15th of the previous year. She wants to see, what was stressing me out a year ago? Did I survive it? Yes.
It's proof of resilience.
It's cognitive reframing. When you're in a crisis, your brain tells you this is it. This is the end. But if you can open a book and see your own handwriting from 3 years ago worrying about something that turned out fine,
you have empirical proof that you can handle hard things.
it's building a case file for your own strength. And she needs that strength because she is very serious about guarding against burnout. She has a definition for ego I hadn't heard before.
Edging God out.
Right. For her, if you lead with ego, you're pushing guidance away. But she couples that spiritual take with very practical advice on mental health. She talks about healing from the neck up.
Which is a great phrase for therapy and mindset work.
It is, and she acknowledges the cultural stigma there. She says, if you were, and this is her phrase, tore up from the floor up, you are useless to the people you're trying to lead.
Tore up from the floor up. She really has a gift for the one-liners.
It's memorable, but the point is critical. You can't pour from an empty cup. She prescribes silence, nature, vitamin D, and community.
The Women Warriors Group.
This is the community she founded. It's described as a space for psychological safety, a place to cry, but also to celebrate.
Going back to Iron Sharpen Iron, this group is the blacksmith shop. This is where the sharpening actually happens.
And if you look at her output, the books, the guided journals, the speaking, it's all designed to drive people into that kind of community. She doesn't want followers. She wants to build other leaders.
So let's zoom out. We've looked at the 411 codes, the salt and light philosophy, the IT leadership, the 2-point-year AM journals. When you look at the full Devon Croom blueprint, what's the headline for you?
For me, it's the refusal to be fragmented. She brings the systems thinking of an IT director to her trauma recovery. She brings the empathy of a minister to her corporate management. Her past pain fuels her future coaching. It's all one piece.
She is fully integrated. She isn't switching masks.
And she's a builder. She builds protocols, she builds teams, she builds communities.
Well, Devon, it is February 3rd, 2026. If you are listening to this deep dive, and given that we've just spent the last 15 minutes analyzing your life, we really hope you are.
We really do.
We want to wish you a massive happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Dev.
It is so clear from the sources that your team loves you, your community values you, and that your story is acting as that North Star for a lot of people.
Absolutely. You've turned the freeze into a force. That is a rare, rare thing.
And for everyone else listening, whether you're in IT or ministry or just trying to navigate your own challenges, we want to leave you with a challenge inspired by Devon's philosophy. She lives by iron, sharpen iron.
It's a good question to ask yourself today. In a world that pushes us to compete, to be the salt and pepper, who are the people you're allowing to sharpen you?
And equally important, are you dimming your light to fit in, or are you brave enough to be the salt?
Bring the flavor.
Exactly. Happy birthday, Devon Croom. Thanks for providing us with such a rich blueprint to explore. And to our listeners, thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you next time.